If you have a pest control company, you need PCO. The information you just get from the dashboard immediately will help you make better financial decisions than you can otherwise. I've been in the pest control industry since 2005. Me and my business partner founded Natura Pest Control back in 2012. We originally started by doing the door-to-door thing. We'd go door-to-door doing pest control. We started selling for Clark Pest Control down in California, and after a while we thought, man, I think we can do this ourselves. So it's kind of funny. I'm in a pest control peer group. The question of revenue got brought up, and one of the guys in the peer group said, well, guys, what's revenue? And I said, well, revenue is the money that hits your bank account. And most of the group looked at me like I said something wrong, and I said, isn't it? And they're like, no. And so we had this whole discussion about it. I'm like, what are we talking about here? And this guy, his name's Dolphin. Dolphin's like, dude, you need PCO bookkeeping. Let me put you in contact with my buddies. And that's actually essentially how we got into that. Yeah, so the first thing that they did is promised us they would send us on-time financials, which sounds easy, but they've done it. We've been with them for 18 months, and every month on the dot, we get our financial information. That's all we wanted. We just wanted on-time financials. But what we got from them was actually a lot more. Every month we get benchmarking information, comparative to the industry, and a full packet. So we have 3 different branches, and we get an individual packet for each branch, and then one consolidated all into one. Essentially what happened is we went from a place where we weren't getting financial information consistently. We couldn't make decisions based upon financial decisions. And now we're at a point where we get it consistently. Not only can we make decisions, but when something's off, we can drill down into branch specific. Each branch has their own separate individual P&L. That is, made a huge difference to us. Every bookkeeper we used before PCO, we'd have an engagement interview with them, and they would essentially ask us, how do you want us to set up your books? And we would go through and we'd tell them. And for example, our last bookkeeper, they had all of our company wages and COGS. And we knew that maybe CSRs shouldn't be in COGS. But when we moved to PCO said, we've been doing this for a long time. We know what we're doing. And so instead of them asking us, how do you want us to set up your financials? They said, this is how we're going to set up your financials, because it's industry specific. So our data is way more clean. And like I already mentioned, it's backed against other people in the industry. So I can see exactly, I can look through my dashboard and I can see if my CSR wages are too high. I can look through my dashboard and see if my labor ratio is too high, because it's comparative to so many other pest control companies across the country. One of the things I love about PCO is when you reach out and say, hey, I need to talk to you, they set up a calendar, they send you a Zoom meeting immediately. It's ready to go. So, one time in particular, we needed to meet with them. We had a dicey thing happening in our business. They called in from a cruise. They were vacationing. They were on their own. One of them was in their room, and housekeeping came. He had to get up and hey, get out of I'm working. When you need to meet with them, they make time to meet. And they have bigger clients than me, but they're on a cruise and they're helping me out. That's pretty cool. I think my perspective on this is most clear because when I look at it from the point of view from my peer group, we have people in our peer group that are doing $500,000, $800,000 in revenue, and they're using PCO. And then you have companies that are doing north of $5-6 million, $10 million of revenue. And when we sit there and talk about what we need from PCO, you can tell pretty quickly that none of us are getting a different experience in that situation. I have a guy in my peer group, he's a $10 million business, huge commercial. He's moving and grooving, doing cool stuff. And his experience with PCO is the same as mine. And the guy in our group that's, $1 million, again, he can call PCO at any time. PCO answers that call, gets on the phone with them, and helps them through their problems. And that's the thing I love. We all pay our monthly fees, but our monthly fees don't change based upon how much time we need them. You know, like if I start using them every week for an hour or two, my fees don't change. And that to me means that they want my success as much as the next guy in their business. First off, Brian came in and, like I said, set up our financials the way that they should be set up. Anytime we have questions, he jumps on a call with us. So, for example, we had this issue like, our labor rate was good, our CSR wages were good, but our general and administrative, our G&A was really high, like super high in the industry standard, or compared to the industry. And so we met with Brian and said, hey, Brian, walk us through here. Where are we too high? And he went down the line item of all our G&A expenses. We realized that our rent was 3% of revenue, which is huge. And so with that information, he's like, no, this is too high. It should be closer to this percentage. He pointed out a few other things. That's an example of Brian helping us see things in our business with data. And then we turn around as a business and say, okay, this location we have, we're paying way too much rent here. And we've since found a new location, moving, and saving $3,000 a month on rent. Like, that's huge to us. If you have a pest control company, in my opinion, you need PCO. The information you just get from the dashboard immediately will help you make better financial decisions than you can otherwise. I mean, I've met pest control companies that's having their wife do the bookkeeping. And I get it, you're small, that might work out. But as soon as you bring in PCO and you can actually get information that is categorized correctly and is giving you information based upon the industry at a whole, it'll help you pretty quickly realize the adjustments you need to make in your business.